Welcome everybody, this is Alan with Daily Armor of God. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're all doing well. This is Reading the Bible in 123 days. We're on day 45. Today we'll be finishing 2 Kings, reading chapters 20 through 25, and starting 1 Chronicles, reading chapters 1 and 2. So let's get started here in 2 Kings, chapter 20. In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death, and the prophet Isaiah the son of Amoz came to him, and said unto him, Thus saith Yahweh, Set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. Then he turned his face to the wall, and prayed unto Yahweh, saying, I beseech thee, O Yahweh, remember now how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which was good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore. And it came to pass, afore Isaiah was gone out into the middle court, that the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, Turn again and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, Thus saith Yahweh, the God of David thy father, I have heard thy prayer, I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee. On the third day thou shalt go up unto the house of Yahweh. And I will add unto thy days 15 years, and I will deliver thee in this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria, and I will defend this city for mine own sake, and for my servant David's sake. And Isaiah said, Take a lump of figs. And they took it, and laid it on the boil, and he recovered. And Hezekiah said unto Isaiah, What shall be the sign that Yahweh will heal me, and that I shall go up into the house of Yahweh the third day? And Isaiah said, This sign shalt thou have of Yahweh, that Yahweh will do the thing that he hath spoken. Shall the shadow go forward 10 degrees, or go back 10 degrees? And Hezekiah answered, It is a light thing for the shadow to go down 10 degrees. Nay, but let the shadow return backward 10 degrees. And Isaiah the prophet cried unto Yahweh, and he brought the shadow 10 degrees backward, by which it had gone down in the dial of Ahaz. At that time Berodach-baladan, the son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent letters and a present unto Hezekiah, for he had heard that Hezekiah had been sick. Hezekiah hearkened unto them, and showed them all the house of his precious things, the silver and the gold, and the spices and the precious ointment in the house of his armor, and all that was found in his treasures. There was nothing in his house nor in all his dominion that Hezekiah showed them not. Then came Isaiah the prophet unto King Hezekiah, and said unto him, What said these men, and from whence came they unto thee? And Hezekiah said, They are come from a far country, even from Babylon. And he said, What have they seen in thine house? And Hezekiah answered, All the things that are in mine house have they seen. There is nothing among my treasures that I have not showed them. And Isaiah said to Hezekiah, Hear the word of Yahweh. Behold, the days come that all that is in thine house, and that which thy fathers have laid up in store unto this day, shall be carried into Babylon. Nothing shall be left, saith Yahweh. And of thy sons thou shalt issue from thee, which thou shalt beget, and they shall take away, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. Then said Hezekiah unto Isaiah, Good is the word of Yahweh which thou hast spoken. And he said, Is it not good, if peace and truth be in my days? The rest of the acts of Hezekiah, and all his might, and how he made a pool and a conduit, and brought water into the city, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And Hezekiah slept with his fathers, and Manasseh his son reigned in his stead. 2 Kings 21. Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 55 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hephzibah. And he did that which is evil in the sight of Yahweh, after the abominations of the heathen, whom Yahweh cast out before the children of Israel. For he built up again the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed, and he reared up altars for Baal, and made a grove, and did Ahab king of Israel, and worshipped all the host of heaven, and served them. He built altars in the house of Yahweh, of which Yahweh said, In Jerusalem will I put my name. And he built altars for all the host of heaven in the 2 courts of the house of Yahweh. And he made his son pass through the fire, and observed times, and used enchantments, and dealt with familiar spirits and wizards. And he wrought much wickedness in the sight of Yahweh, to provoke him to anger. And he set a graven image of the grove that he made in the house, of which Yahweh said to David and to Solomon his son, In this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, I will put my name forever. Neither will I make the feet of Israel move any more out of the land which I gave their fathers, only if they will observe to do according to all that I have commanded them, and according to all the law that my servant Moses commanded them. But they hearkened not, and Manasseh seduced them to do more evil than did the nations whom Yahweh destroyed before the children of Israel. Here's that verse I was talking about, how before the children of Israel even went into the land, after they came out of Egypt, God wanted them to destroy every single nation in the promised land because they were doing such wickedness and abominations. And we learned that throughout the years and throughout the kings, and we see here that they do more and more evil than the people who were in the land. And it says right here, 2 Kings 21:9, they did more evil than did the nations whom Yahweh destroyed before the children of Israel, meaning when they first went into the promised land. So if you can imagine all the evil that these lost people, these pagans, I guess you could call them, they were doing such evil that God needed to destroy them because they were doing such wickedness. But here you are, years later, and Manasseh, the current king, is making all of them do more evil than the nations. That's just sad. But we also see this as prophecy fulfilled because Moses prophesied that this would happen, that they would turn away from God and do evil in the sight of God and serve other gods, little g. And also God himself prophesied that this would happen, and we see prophecy being fulfilled here. Unfortunately, they did more evil than the nations that were there before him. So, 2 Kings 21:10. Yahweh spake by his servants the prophets, saying, Because Manasseh, king of Judah, hath done these evil abominations, and hath done wickedly above all that the Amorites did, which were before him, and hath made Judah also to sin with his idols. Therefore thus saith Yahweh God of Israel, Behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, and that whosoever heareth of it, both his ears shall tingle. And I will stretch over Jerusalem the line of Samaria, and the plummet of the house of Ahab, and I will wipe Jerusalem as a man wipeth a dish, wiping it, and turning it upside down. And I will forsake the remnant of my inheritance, and deliver them into the hand of their enemies, and they shall become a prey and a spoil to all their enemies, because they have done that which was evil in my sight, and have provoked me to anger, since the day their fathers came forth out of Egypt, even unto this day. Moreover, Manasseh shed innocent blood very much, till he had filled Jerusalem from one end to another, beside his sin wherewith he made Judah to sin, in doing that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh. Now the rest of the acts of Manasseh, and all that he did, and his sin that he sinned, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And Manasseh slept with his fathers, and was buried in the garden of his own house, in the garden of Uzzah, and Ammon his son reigned in his stead. Ammon was 22 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 2 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Methullemeth, the daughter of Haruz of Jotbah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, and as his father Manasseh did. And he walked in all the way that his father walked in, and served the idols that his father served, and worshipped them. And he forsook Yahweh, God of his fathers, and walked not in the way of Yahweh. And the servants of Ammon conspired against him, and slew the king in his own house. And the people of the land slew all them that had conspired against King Ammon, and the people of the land made Josiah his son king in his stead. Now the rest of the acts of Ammon which he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And he was buried in his sepulchre in the garden of Uzzah, and Josiah his son reigned in his stead. 2 Kings 22. Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Jedidah, the daughter of Adiah of Boskath. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahweh, and walked in all the ways of David his father, and turned not aside to the right hand or to the left. And it came to pass in the 18th year of King Josiah that the king sent Shaphan the son of Azaliah, the son of Meshullam, the scribe, to the house of Yahweh, saying, Go up to Hilkiah the high priest, that he may sum the silver which is brought into the house of Yahweh, which the keepers of the door have gathered to all the people. And let them deliver it into the hand of the doers of the work that have the oversight of the house of Yahweh, and let them give it to the doers of the work which is in the house of Yahweh, to repair the breaches of the house, and to carpenters and builders and masons, and to buy timber and hewn stone to repair the house. Howbeit, there was no reckoning made with them of the money that was delivered into their hand, because they dealt faithfully. And Hilkiah the high priest said unto Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the law in the house of Yahweh. And Hilkiah gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it. And Shaphan the scribe came to the king, and brought the king word again, and said, Thy servants have gathered the money that was found in the house, and have delivered it into the hand of them that do the work, that have the oversight of the house of Yahweh. And Shaphan the scribe showed the king, saying, Hilkiah the priest hath delivered me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king. And it came to pass, when the king had heard the words of the book of the law, that he rent his clothes. And the king commanded Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam the son of Shaphan, and Achbor the son of Micaiah, and Shaphan the scribe, and Asaiah the servant of the king, saying, Go ye, inquire of Yahweh for me, and for the people, and for all Judah, concerning the words of this book that is found. For great is the wrath of Yahweh that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not hearkened unto the words of this book, to do according to all that which is written concerning us. So Hilkiah the priest, and Ahikam, and Achbor, and Shaphan, and Asaiah went unto Huldah the prophetess, the wife of Shallum the son of Tikvah, the son of Harhas, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she dwelt in Jerusalem in the college, and they communed with her. And she said unto them, Thus saith Yahweh God of Israel, Tell the man that sent you to me, Thus saith Yahweh, Behold, I will bring evil upon this place, and upon the inhabitants thereof, even all the words of the book which the king of Judah hath read, because they have forsaken me, and have burnt incense unto other gods, that they might provoke me to anger with all the works of their hands. Therefore my wrath shall be kindled against this place, and shall not be quenched. But to the king of Judah which sent you to inquire of Yahweh, thus shall ye say to him, Thus saith Yahweh God of Israel, as touching the words which thou hast heard, because thine heart was tender, and thou hast humbled thyself before Yahweh, when thou heardest what I spake against this place, and against the inhabitants thereof, that they should become a desolation and a curse, and hast rent thy clothes, and wept before me, I also have heard thee, saith Yahweh. Behold, therefore, I will gather unto thee unto thy fathers, and thou shalt be gathered into thy grave in peace, and thy eyes shall not see all the evil which I bring upon this place. And they brought the king word again. 2 Kings 23. And the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. And the king went up into the house of Yahweh, and all the men of Judah, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets, and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their ears all the words of the book of the covenant which was found in the house of Yahweh. And the king stood by a pillar, and made a covenant before Yahweh, to walk after the Yahweh, and to keep his commandments, and his testimonies, and his statutes, with all their heart and all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people stood to the covenant. And the king commanded Hilkiah the high priest, and the priests of the second order, and the keepers of the door, to bring forth out of the temple of Yahweh all the vessels that were made for Baal, and for the grove, and for the host of heaven, for he burned them without Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron, and carried the ashes of them unto Bethel. And he put down the idolatrous priests, whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah, and in the places round about Jerusalem, them also that burned incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the host of heaven. And he brought out the grove of the house of Yahweh without Jerusalem unto the brook Kidron, and burned it at the brook Kidron, and stamped it to a small powder, and cast the powder thereof upon the graves of the children of the people. And he brake down the houses of the Sodomites that were by the house of Yahweh, where the woman wove hangings for the grove. And he brought all the priests out of the cities of Judah, and defiled the high places where the priests had burnt incense from Geba to Beersheba, and brake down the high places of the gates that were in the entering in of the gate of Joshua, the governor of the city, which were on a man's left hand at the gate of the city. Nevertheless, the priests of the high places came not up to the altar of Yahweh in Jerusalem, but they did eat of the unleavened bread among their brethren. And he defiled Topheth, which is in the valley of the children of Hinnom, that no man might make his son or daughter pass through the fire to Molech. He took away the horses that the kings of Judah had given to the sun at the entering of the house of Yahweh by the chamber of Nathan-melech the chamberlain, which was in the suburbs, and burned the chariots of the sun with fire. And the altars were on top of the upper chamber of Ahaz, which the kings of Judah had made, and the altars which Manasseh had made in the two courts of the house of Yahweh, did the king beat down and break them down from thence, and cast the dust of them into the brook Kidron. And the high places that were before Jerusalem, which were on the right hand of the mount of corruption, which Solomon the king of Israel had builded for Ashtoreth, the abomination of the Zidonians, and for Cheshmosh, the abomination of the Moabites, and for Milcom, the abomination of the children of Ammon, did the king defile. And he brake in pieces the images, and cut down the groves, and filled their places with the bones of men. Moreover, the altar that was at Bethel, in the high place, which Jeroboam the son of Bet, who made Israel descend, had made, both that altar and the high place he brake down, and burned the high place, and stamped it small to powder, and burned the grove. And as Josiah turned himself, he spied the sepulchres that were there in the mount, and sent and took the bones out of the sepulchres, and burned them upon the altar, and polluted it according to the word of Yahweh, which the man of God proclaimed, who proclaimed these words. Then he said, What title is that I see? And the men of the city told him, It is the sepulchre of the man of God, which came from Judah, and proclaimed these things that thou hast done against the altar of Bethel. And he said, Let him alone, let no man move his bones. So let his bones alone with the bones of the prophet that came out of Samaria. And all the houses also of the high places that were in the cities of Samaria, which the kings of Israel had made to provoke Yahweh to anger, Josiah took away, and did to them according to all the acts that he had done in Bethel. And he slew all the priests of the high places that were there upon the altars, and burned men's bones upon them, and returned to Jerusalem. The king commanded all the people, saying, Keep the Passover unto Yahweh your God, as it is written in the book of this covenant. Surely there was not holden such a Passover from the days of the judges that judged Israel, nor in all the days of the kings of Israel, nor of the kings of Judah. But in the 18th year of King Josiah, wherein this Passover was holden to Yahweh in Jerusalem. Moreover, the workers with familiar spirits, and the wizards, and the images, and the idols, and all the abominations that were spied in the land of Judah and in Jerusalem did Josiah put away, that he might perform the words of the law, which were written in the book that Hilkiah the priest found in the house of Yahweh. And like unto him was there no king before him that turned to Yahweh with all his heart, and with all his soul, and with all his might, according to all the law of Moses? Neither after him arose any like him. Isn't that amazing? We finally see, close to the end of the Babylonian captivity, very close to the end, we see finally a king that does all this, takes away the high places, not, not half-hearted about serving the Lord. He does it with all his might, takes away all the high places, all the altars, all the groves, all the images and idols and everything. Like, he went full force against it. Finally, near the end. So it's just amazing to finally see that. Finally see it. That they took down all those high places and images. And he was on fire for God. And this is a good example, Josiah. It's a good example of how we should be today for God. We should be on fire. There's a verse in the Bible that says that he will spew us out lukewarm Christians. He'll spew out. We need to be on fire for God and serve him with all our soul and all our might, all our heart. So there's a great lesson to be found here, something great that we can glean from these passages, and that is to serve God with all our might, and not half-hearted, not lukewarm. 2 Kings 23:26. Notwithstanding, Yahweh turned not from the fierceness of his great wrath, wherewith his anger was kindled against Judah, because of all the provocations that Manasseh had provoked him withal. And Yahweh said, I will remove Judah also out of my sight, as I have removed Israel, and will cast off this city Jerusalem which I have chosen, and the house of which I said my name shall be there. Now the rest of the acts of Josiah, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? In his days, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up against the king of Assyria to the river Euphrates, and King Josiah went against him, and he slew him at Megiddo, when he had seen him. And his servants carried him in a chariot dead from Megiddo, and brought him to Jerusalem. They buried him in his own sepulchre. And the people of the land took Jehoahaz the son of Josiah, and anointed him, and made him king in his father's stead. And Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that his fathers had done. And Pharaoh Necho put him in the bands at Riblah in the land of Hamath, that he might not reign in Jerusalem, and put the land to a tribute of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. And Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim the son of Josiah king in the room of Josiah his father, and turned his name to Jehoiakim, and took Jehoahaz away, and he came to Egypt and died there. And Jehoiakim gave the silver and the gold to Pharaoh, but he taxed the land to give the money according to the commandment of Pharaoh. He exacted the silver and the gold of the people of the land, of every one according to his taxation, to give it unto Pharaoh Necho. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Zebdah, the daughter of Pedaiah of Rumah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that his fathers had done. 2 Kings 24. In his days Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years. Then he turned and rebelled against him. And Yahweh sent against him bands of the Chaldees, and bands of the Syrians, and bands of the Moabites, and bands of the children of Ammon, and sent them against Judah to destroy it, according to the word of Yahweh, which he spake by his servant the prophets. Surely at the commandment of Yahweh came this upon Judah, to remove them out of his sight for the sins of Manasseh, according to all that he did, and also for the innocent blood that he shed, for he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, which Yahweh would not pardon. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? So Jehoiakim slept with his fathers, and Jehoiachin his son reigned in his stead. And the king of Egypt came not again any more out of his land, for the king of Babylon had taken from the river Egypt unto the river Euphrates all that pertained to the king of Egypt. Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. And his mother's name was Neshuta, the daughter of Elnathan of Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that his father had done. At that time the servants of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came up against Jerusalem, and the city was besieged. And Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came against the city, and his servants did besiege it. Jehoiachin the king of Judah went out to the king of Babylon, he and his mother and his servants and his princes and officers. And the king of Babylon took him in the 8th year of his reign. And he carried out thence all the treasures of the house of Yahweh, and the treasures of the king's house, and cut in pieces all the vessels of gold which Solomon king of Israel had made in the temple of Yahweh, as Yahweh had said. And he carried away all Jerusalem, and all the princes, and all the mighty men of valor, even 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and smiths. None remained, save the poorest sort of the people of the land. And he carried away Jehoiachin to Babylon, and the king's mother, and the king's wives, and his officers, the mighty of the land. Those carried he into captivity from Jerusalem to Babylon. And all the men of might 7,000, and craftsmen and smiths 1,000, all that were strong and apt for war, even them king of Babylon brought captive to Babylon. And the king of Babylon made Mattaniah his father's brother king in his stead, and changed his name to Zedekiah. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahweh, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. For through the anger of Yahweh it came to pass in Jerusalem and Judah, until he had cast them out from his presence, that Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. 2 Kings 25. It came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, and the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon came, he and all his host, against Jerusalem, and pitched against it, and they built forts against it round about. And the city was besieged unto the 11th year of King Zedekiah. And on the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine prevailed in the city, and there was no bread for the people of the land. And the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled by night by the way of the gate between two walls, which is by the king's garden. Now the Chaldees were against the city round about. And the king went the way toward the plain. And the army of the Chaldees pursued after the king, and overtook him in the plains of Jericho, and all his armies were scattered from him. So they took the king, and brought him up to the king of Babylon to Riblah, and they gave judgment upon him. And they slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and then put out his eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him with fetters of brass, and carried him to Babylon. And in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem. And he burnt the house of Yahweh, and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and every great man's house burnt he with fire. And all the army of the Chaldees that were with the captain of the guard brake down the walls of Jerusalem round about. Now the rest of the people that were left in the city, and the fugitives that fell away to the king of Babylon, with the remnant of the multitude, did Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carry away. But the captain of the guard left of the poor of the land to be vine dressers and husbandmen. And the pillars of brass that were in the house of Yahweh, and the bases, and the brass and sea that was in the house of Yahweh, did the Chaldees break in pieces, and carry the brass of them to Babylon. And the pots, and the shovels, and the snuffers, and the spoons, and all the vessels of brass wherewith they ministered, took they away. And the fire pans, and the bowls, and such things as were of gold, in gold, and of silver, in silver, the captain of the guard took away. The 2 pillars, one seat, and the bases which Solomon had made for the house of Yahweh, the brass of all these vessels was without weight. The height of the one pillar was 18 cubits, and the chapiter upon it was brass, and the height of the chapiter 3 cubits, and the wreathen work and pomegranates upon the chapiter round about all of brass, and like unto these had the 2nd pillar with wreathen work. And the captain of the guard took Seraiah the chief priest, and Zephaniah the 2nd priest, and the 3 keepers of the door. And out of the city he took an officer that was set over the men of war, and 5 men of them that were in the king's presence, which were found in the city, and the principal scribe of the host, which mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people out of the land that were found in the city. Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, took these and brought them to the king of Babylon to Riblah. And the king of Babylon smote them and slew them at Riblah in the land of Hamath, so Judah was carried away out of their land. And as for the people that remained in the land of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had left, even over them he made Gedaliah the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, ruler. And when all the captains of the armies and they and their men had heard that the king of Babylon had made Gedaliah governor, there came to Gedaliah to Mizpah even Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, and Johanan the son of Cherah, and Seraiah the son of Tahunmeth the Nephatothite, and Jazaniah the son of Makathite, they and their men. And Gedaliah sware to them and to their men, and said unto them, Fear not to be the servants of the Chaldees. Dwell in the land and serve the king of Babylon, and it shall be well with you. But it came to pass in the 7th month that Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, the son of Elishama, of the seed royal, came, and 10 men with him, and smote Gedaliah that he died, and the Jews and the Chaldees that were with him at Mizpah. And all the people, both small and great, even the captains of the armies, arose and came to Egypt, for they were afraid of the Chaldees. And it came to pass in the 7th and 13th year of captivity of Jehoiachin king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, that Evil Merodach king of Babylon in the year that he began to reign, did lift up his head of Jehoiachin king of Judah out of prison. And he spake kindly to him, and set his throne above the throne of the kings that were with him in Babylon, and changed his prison garments, and he did eat bread continually before him all the days of his life. And his allowance was a continual allowance given him of the king at daily rate for every day, all the days of his life. All right. 1 Chronicles, chapter 1. Verse 1. Adam, Sheth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Henoch, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah, Shem, Ham, Japheth, the sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Trias, the sons of Gomer, Ashchenaz, and Riphath, and Togmarah, the sons of Javan, Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim, the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, Put, and Canaan, the sons of Cush, Sheba, and Havilah, and Sabta, and Ramah, and Sabteka, and the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan, and Cush begat Nimrod, and he began to be mighty upon the earth. Mizraim begat Ludim, and Ananim, and Lehabim, and Naptuhim, and Pathrusim, and Kaluhim, of whom came the Philistines, and Capthorim. And Canaan begat Zidon his firstborn, and Heth, the Jebusite also, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite, the sons of Shem, Elam, and Asher, and Arpzad, and Lud, and Aram, and Uz, and Hul, and Gether, and Meshech. And Arpzad begat Selah, and Selah begat Eber. And unto Eber were born 2 sons, and the name of the one was Peleg, because in his days on the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. And Joktan begat Almodad, and Sheleph, and Havramatheth, and Jerah, Adoram also, and Uzal, and Diklah, and Ebel, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. Shem, Arphsad, Selah, Eber, Peleg, Reu, Serug, Nahor, Terah, Abram, the same as Abraham, the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Ishmael. These are their generations, the firstborn of Ishmael, Nebaioth, then Kedar, and Abdil, and Mibsam, Mishma, and Duma, Massa, Hadad, and Temnah, Jetur, Nephish, Kedemah. These are the sons of Ishmael. Now the sons of Keturah, Abraham's concubine, she bare him Zimram, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua. And the sons of Jokshan, Sheba, and Dedan. The sons of Midian, Ephaph, and Epher, and Henoch, and Abida, and Eldah. All these are the sons of Keturah. And Abraham begat Isaac, the sons of Isaac, and Esau, and Israel. The sons of Esau, Eliphaz, Reuel, and Jush, and Jalam, and Korah. The sons of Eliphaz, Teman, and Omar, Zephi, and Gatam, Kenaz, and Timnah, and Amalek. The sons of Reuel, Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. The sons of Seir, Lotan, and Shobal, and Zibeon, and Anna, and Dishon, and Ezer, and Dishan. The sons of Lotan, Hori, and Homam, and Timnah was Lotan's sister. The sons of Shobal, Elian, Manahath, and Abel, Sephi, and Omam. The sons of Zibeon, Aya, and Anna. The sons of Anna, Dishon, and the sons of Dishon, Amram, and Eshban, and Ithran, and Cheran. The sons of Ezer, Bilhan, and Zavan, and Jachan. The sons of Dishan, Uz, and Aran. Now these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the children of Israel. Bela the son of Beor, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. And when Bela was dead, Jobab the son of Zerah of Bozrah reigned in his stead. And when Jobab was dead, Husham of the land of the Temanites reigned in his stead. And when Husham was dead, Hadad the son of Bedad, which smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Avith. And when Hadad was dead, Samlah of Masrekah reigned in his stead. And when Samlah was dead, Shaul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his stead. And when Shaul was dead, Baal-Hanan the son of Achbor reigned in his stead. And Baalhanan was dead, Hadad reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Pai, and his wife's name was Methetebel, the daughter of Metred, the daughter of Mezahab. Hadad died also, and the dukes of Edom were Duke Timnah, Duke Aliah, Duke Jeheth, Duke Aholibama, Duke Elah, Duke Pinon, Duke Kenaz, Duke Teman, Duke Mibzar, Duke Magdiel, Duke Imram. These are the dukes of Edom. And if you recall, Edom is another name for Esau. So the land of Edom is actually Esau's land. So Esau and Edom are one and the same, just like Israel and Jacob are one and the same. So Edom, whenever you hear about Edom, Edomites, those are Esau's people. 2 Chronicles chapter 2. Verse 1. These are the sons of Israel: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, and Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. The sons of Judah: Er, and Onan, and Selah, which 3 were born unto him of the daughter of Shua the Canaanitess. And Er, the firstborn of Judah, was evil in the sight of Yahweh, and he slew him. And Tamar his daughter-in-law bare him Pharez and Zerah. All the sons of Judah were 5. The sons of Pharez: Hezron and Hamul. The sons of Zerah: Zimri, and Ethan, and Hemam, and Calcol, and Dara, 5 of them in all. And the sons of Carmi: Achar, the troubler of Israel, who transgressed in a thing accursed. And the sons of Ethan: Azariah. The sons also of Hezron that were born unto him: Jerahmeel, and Ram, and Chelubai. And Ram begat Aminadab, and Aminadab begat Nahshon, the prince of the children of Judah. And Nahshon begat Salma, and Salma begat Boaz. And Boaz begat Obed, and Obed begat Jesse. And Jesse begat his firstborn Eliab, and Abinadab the second, and Shimah the third, Nathaniel the fourth, Radai the fifth, Ozem the sixth, David the seventh, whose sisters were Zariah and Abigail. And the sons of Zariah: Abishai, and Joab, and Asahel, 3. And Abigail bare Amasa. The father of Amasa was Jether the Ishmaelite. And Caleb the son of Hezron begat children of Azubah his wife, and of Jeroth. Her sons are these: Jeshur, and Shobab, and Ardon. And when Azubah was dead, Caleb took unto him Ephrath, which bare him Hur. And Hur begat Uri, and Uri begat Bezaleel. And afterward Hezron went to the daughter of Machir the father of Gilead, whom he married when he was 80 years old, and she bare him Segub. And Segub begat Jair, who had 23 cities in the land of Gilead. And he took Geshur and Aram, with the towns of Jair from them, with Kenath and the towns thereof, even 80 cities. All these belonged to the sons of Machir the father of Gilead. And after that Hezron was dead, and Caleb Ephrathah. Then Abiah, Hezron's wife, bare him Asher the father of Tekoa. And the sons of Jerahmeel, the firstborn of Hezron, were Ram the firstborn, and Bunah, and Oran, and Ozem, and Ahijah. Jerahmeel had also another wife, whose name was Atara. She was the mother of Onam. And the sons of Ram, the firstborn of Jerahmeel, were Maz, and Jabin, and Eker. And the sons of Onam were Shammai and Jada. And the sons of Shammai: Nadab, and Abishur. And the name of the wife of Abishur was Abihail, and she bare him Aban and Molid. And the sons of Nadab: Seled and Apam. But Seled died without children. The sons of Apam: Ishi. And the sons of Ishi: Sheshan. And the children of Sheshan: Alai. And the sons of Jada, the brother of Shammai: Jether and Jonathan. And Jether died without children. And the sons of Jonathan: Peleth and Zaza. These are the sons of Jerahmeel. Now Sheshan had no sons but daughters, and Sheshan had a servant, an Egyptian, whose name was Jarah. And Sheshan gave his daughter to Jarah his servant to wife, and she bare him Attai. And Attai begat Nathan, and Nathan begat Zabad, and Zabad begat Ephlal, and Ephlal begat Obed, and Obed begat Jehu, and Jehu begat Azariah, and Azariah begat Helez, and Helez begat Elisah, and Elisah begat Sisamai, and Sisamai begat Shallum, and Shallum begat Jechmiah, and Jechmiah begat Elishama. Now the sons of Caleb the brother of Jerahmeel were Mesha his firstborn, which was the father of Zip. The sons of Marashah: the father of Hebron. The sons of Hebron, Korah and Tappuah, and Rechem and Shema. And Shema begat Raham, the father of Jorkam. And Rechem begat Shammai. And the son of Shammai was Maon, and Maon was the father of Bethzur. And Ephah, Caleb's concubine, bare Haran, and Moza, and Gazez. And Haran begat Gazez. And the sons of Jadai, Regem, and Jotham, and Geshan, and Pelet, and Ephah, and Shap. Makkah, Caleb's concubine, bare Sheber and Tirhana. She bare also Saph, the father of Madmana. Sheva, the father of Machbenah, and the father of Gibi, and the daughter of Caleb was Aksah. These are the sons of Caleb, the son of Hur, the firstborn of Ephratah. Shobal, the father of Kirjath-jearim. Salma, the father of Bethlehem. Hareph, the father of Beth-gader. And Shobal, the father of Kirjath-jearim, had sons, Haro, and half of the Mahathethites, the families of Kirjath-jearim, the Ithrites, and the Puhites, and the Shumathites, and the Mishrites. Then came the Zerathites and the Eshtolites, the sons of Salma, Bethlehem, and Nephotites, Ataroth, the house of Joab, and half of the Manahethites, the Zorites. And the families of the scribes which dwelt at Jabez, the Tirathites, and the Shimathites, and the Sukkothites. These are the Kenites that came from Hamath, the father of the house of Rechab. That's a lot of genealogy. If you think about it, there's no way fleshly man, could have kept track of all these different families and people. There's just no way, no matter how good their record keeping was throughout all these years. These are so many years in between all this too, you got to remember. So it would be nigh impossible. So only the inspired word of God, people writing these books who are inspired by God, could write these, because how good the genealogy is throughout the whole entire Bible. Anytime you see genealogy like this, it's just a great reminder that God had his hand in the writing of the Bible. So that is just another way to realize that the Bible is true, because we know from history that man, when they tried to preserve genealogies, it just gets all messed up, and mistakes and missing pieces and all that stuff. So anytime you see genealogy in the Bible, it just makes you think how well it was recorded. And that's because it was under the influence of God writing it. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you have a great evening, morning, noon, wherever you're at. Remember to put God first in everything you do. Have faith in him, trust in him, and wait upon him, and you'll never be sorry. And God willingly, we'll see you tomorrow with more Bible reading. So thanks again, and we'll see you later.